So I love what your thought process is. Wholesaling is truly an active income creator, but it's really similar. And I want you to kind of think about this pretty heavily, since because of the position you're at in business right now. Right now, wholesaling is obviously a great way to end up getting like a $50,000 check without doing nothing. Like it's pretty freaking awesome in that respect, right? But you can also only get like a $10,000 check and do a lot of work. You can also only make like $2,000 and do a crap ton of work, way more than you won, but your word and your honor and everything makes you have to stick to it until the very end, and then you just get like basically nothing for your time. So there's good sides and bad sides to the wholesaling in general. What's really amazing about it is the ability for you to help a homeowner out and obviously have mitigated risk, and then pass it over to somebody who has maybe the means to handle that situation a little bit better than what you do. However, what's a lot easier right now, especially in your situation, is definitely getting listings. And if I were to look at your operation right now and I were to say, hey, or I was sitting in your shoes, well, I wouldn't be looking at trying to necessarily wholesale. I would be looking at first trying to list property, and then I would be looking to also say, hey, if I can't list your property, I have a guaranteed cash offer for you. A lot of this is going to depend, because you're working for a brokerage, what's possible for you. You're going to have to figure that out a little bit, because you are under a brokerage, not something like EXP, unless your brokerage is with EXP. But nevertheless, that's something you're going to have to look into with your broker. And so what I mean by that is, what I think would be the best way for you to do is continue doing outbound prospecting, right? But focus on trying to get a listing on properties that are 350,000 or more, which is pretty easy to do in Ocala. There's a lot of properties that are above that price range. And the reason why is because if you were to list that property, right, and you were to get a listing done and you were to sell that, right now for your momentum, it's going to give you the most bang for your buck, because you're going to be able to list a property and you'll be able to make 8 to 10 grand, right, off of a listing. And then on top of that, all that inbound that you're getting from your listing now gives you buyers as well. So the benefit to listing properties as an investor and as an agent is the fact that it's the primary way that you're able to generate leads without having to pay any money, right? So think of it from this perspective. If you're a wholesaler, right, and you get a property for sale and you're like, cool, I'm going to list it on Facebook and I'm going to say, hey, I got this property for sale. If anybody else has a property that I can pay cash for, let me know. Like, you're not going to really get any comments on that posting saying, yeah, I know this guy that wants to sell their property for cash, and boom, there you go. If you do the opposite and you post a listing on Facebook, you're going to have a ton of people commenting saying that they're looking to buy a property, and your potential to have someone who wants to sell a property is much, much higher. And so from an organic perspective of you putting more income in your life right now, that's going to produce a lot more revenue faster, potentially, than wholesaling. As far as what it doesn't mean that you don't do wholesaling. It means that you put agent up here, wholesaling underneath of it, and you sell it as I buy, sell, list. Or I buy, sell, buy, sell, list. No, buy, sell. You're buying it, you're selling it. There's the third one. I have it. I just literally made a postcard for my agent team on there that I put this same exact 3 words: buy, sell, something else. It's not list. Is the third one? Is not the word. But nevertheless, and so what you're saying is like, hey, first and foremost, I'm Zach Day, your local real estate agent, but I also buy. You could do like Zach Day buys houses.com or some shit. I don't know. Zach Day Realtor, whatever. Right. And so anytime someone comes to you, you're presenting the options as, hey, listen, I would love to pay cash for your property. But it's going to, and if that's what makes sense for you, then fantastic. I think that's a great idea. Let's go that route. But I want you to understand that I can also, if that doesn't make sense, like you have a beautiful property, there's nothing wrong with it, it's perfectly listable and you have time to list it, let me just list it for you. Don't where a lot of, like, especially newer investors and even really seasoned investors get really terrible with this is they turn a blind eye to the thing that the seller really needs and wants because of what they want. And they basically kind of spit away money. And so because one seems more easier or harder or whatever, and I just don't really like that. I just missed out on a listing myself from inbound that was on our Carrot website for a cash sale. And they came for a cash sale. Turned out that they weren't really interested in a cash sale. They want a market value, and I wasn't quick enough to get back to them. And they already have another agent. You know, that's gonna list for 400 grand. I literally just lost. It's 12 grand I just lost. You know, on a simple, I mean, it would have sold like this. It's in Mary Esther. It's a small community in my little market here in Northwest Florida. And like that would have been like a 3-day listing, you know, like it's so easy to do that. And what's really crazy about it is as you continue to grow, like, I mean, I don't know about the agents at your brokerage, but most of the agents locally here, they don't write up their listing contracts, right? Like their assistants write them up. You know, they typically have somebody else that's working with them. Like they don't do that. They handle the offers and stuff, you know, staying legally within NAR and everything else. But like a lot of people don't do the agent side simply because they think wholesaling is easier, and that's just not true.